Welcome to the Queens of BravoCon show. I'm your host, John, and I'm joined by my friend Lisa and co-host. Hi, Lisa.
Hey,
How are you?
good. Back for another show.
I'm excited. So
Me
this is, I think, the biggest one because if you do today right, everything else falls into place. So today we're talking about transportation and hotels,
Yes.
which are the big ones. And you are our resident city expert,
Oh,
knowing Vegas, right?
it's been a few years though since I lived there and things have changed because back in 2015 to 18 was when I lived there and there was really not a lot of Ubering. There was not a lot of that yet. There was
Yeah,
it was kind of starting and also weed was also legal that around that time. So that all changed too. There was a lot of things happening in Vegas at that time. That
that time.
things all changed. So
Yeah, and I used to live in Southern California. I lived in Orange County for like 10 years, Orange County, LA area. And Vegas was our getaway trip. We had a couple of like overnights. You can pile in the car at like 6 p.m., drive to Vegas.
like
We
the
tried
hangover.
to, yeah, exactly like that. There was once we tried, there's that restaurant, Earl of Sandwich, that didn't used to, they have one now at Disneyland.
Okay.
But they didn't at the time. So a group of my friends and I got in the car. I think it was like 8 p.m. We drove to Vegas to go to Earl of Sandwich. I think it was in Planet Hollywood. Got there to find that it was closed
Oh
because
God.
the hotel water like main had ruptured or something.
Oh
So they had no
wow.
water. So they were closed. So we like walked the strip for 10 minutes, got in the car and drove home. So I know more about Vegas than I probably should. But we've got a lot to talk about. But before we get to it all, how
Yeah.
are you? What's new? What's happening?
I'm good. Just got done having my house cleaner here because I moved in and I never had it deep cleaned because I wanted to get all unpacked and get all the riffraff done in the house. So
Yeah.
that was awesome. And I got a new
I
thermostat
love
today.
I love a new thermostat. Wait,
Home,
what kind of why did you get a new thermostat?
homeowner excitement. Because when they built this building, they put in generic thermostats for the first year, just for whatever the new building. And then they were
Yeah.
like, but after that, you could put in your own fancy like phone app one, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But mine kept breaking, so I called and complained, and I got two cool guys, and I sweet talked them, and they gave me one of the newer ones, but it doesn't have the phone stuff. But I don't care about that. But it's
Yeah.
fancy. It's a Honeywell, and it's pretty. And I'm the only one in the
Ooh.
building with it.
Ooh, I love
Thanks.
that. Yeah. So my fiance and I just bought a house. So we're experiencing all of that like new homeowner stuff for the
Oh
first time
God.
too. We last night, speaking of AC units, last night we just had like a weird water leak. We turned on our AC for the first time yesterday because in New York it got into the 80s, which for New York is really
Yeah.
hot. And our windows face like kind of west, so it
Yeah.
just gets really warm in the
Yeah.
afternoons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I turned the AC on, and then when I was done, I turned it off. My fiance walked in the bedroom and was like, "There's a puddle of water on the floor." And like
Oh
the
no.
AC compressor, I guess, I mean, condensation builds up and it like filters it out, but the vent or the pump was like full, so I had to
Oh
like
God.
clean the gunk out of the pump and like try and. But it looked like it had been like that for a long time. Like the
Probably.
previous owners didn't do anything. So
Probably.
anyway, I'm immediately like, why am I not renting? I could have called the super for this,
Yeah,
and now I'm doing
exactly.
it myself. Oh
Because
no.
you luckily FOMO now.
Yeah, which is we're so. I feel so lucky to home own like as a 30 something year old in
Well, let's talk about your
2023.
bigger news.
My
And
bigger news.
yes, everybody should know that they're going to be listening to the show here.
What, that I'm getting married in T
Yes.
minus 2 weeks now?
Yes.
Less than 2 weeks? Oh my gosh, yeah. So some of these episodes, Lisa's being so nice with my schedule because some of these episodes are going to be a little back to back recorded and then released
Yeah.
later. Yeah, because Sunday, May 21st, I get married.
Oh my God.
And then we're being super old fashioned. We're going to on a honeymoon, like immediately after. Like
Wow. A real
get on a
honeymoon.
plane, let's go. A real honeymoon to
Nice.
Curacao. Although it was,
Oh,
I wanted to go to the Caribbean because I was like, after the house, and I changed jobs this year, and the planning the wedding and all this. I was like, I just want to lay on a beach. I want to do nothing and just zone. So I wanted to go to the Caribbean, but like finding a place that would allow the gays in was a lot harder than it should have been.
Really?
Yeah, there's a ton that are like, I mean, the resorts are fine. You just have to be careful, like in the airport. I was like, you know what I don't want to do? Be careful in the airport on my honeymoon. Like,
Wow, I never even thought of that.
yeah, it
Wow,
was not great.
so like for you guys, when you're traveling, you want to make sure that you're in a gay friendly
Yeah,
area. And I want to make sure there's room for me and my size.
yeah.
Like I'm always doing that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was frustrating, but Curacao looks beautiful.
Oh,
I'm really
good.
excited about it. Maybe
Oh, good.
maybe if I take any good photos, we can make them some of our
We
first photos on
could.
our new Instagram.
I could. Well, speaking of which, we don't have any followers yet, so please follow our socials. We're still getting ramped up for all that stuff,
Yeah,
but we will
good stuff.
hopefully have a few. Let's quickly, before we start in about the hotels, let's thank everybody for listening to the last podcast and watching the videos. Me and John were looking at the stats. We find that the videos kind of had more views. So we're going to continue on with the YouTube portion of it.
And Lisa, you're looking good today for the videos.
Have a little fluff and buff here.
I love it. We were chatting earlier, like prep stuff, and I was like, great. Okay, Lisa, she looks like I do. And then I got on this one and I was like, you changed your shirt, put on makeup, did hair, and I look like
eat dinner.
Yeah. I had these delicious pretzels. So I did it wrong.
I'm starving. I'll be eating after.
Fair.
So John and I did a little pre-show prep though. We wanted to talk about the hotels, so we just kind of prepped to discuss the hotel situation. Now, from last year, they didn't offer a hotel deal from Bravo. So that's why with my group, I went and got a hotel deal. I secured it and I made the meetups happen at the hotels. It was really nice. And we got a good group deal and most people were pretty satisfied. And plus those that went alone wanted to be with others. So it worked out. This year, Bravo secured all the contracts for the hotels, but there's plenty of other options. If you're still coming into, you just found out about BravoCon or you just want to get involved, and it's not too late because the hotels they secured, I believe, were the Link, was it Harrah's and Caesars, right?
Caesars,
okay.
Right.
So those are just three.
They're the three, for the most part, the three closest. When I went into it, because I haven't booked yet, I love that I'm about to share all this advice and I haven't done it myself.
Okay, I did. I already know how to do it.
You're ahead of me. But Harrah's is the only one of the Bravo hotels that's still available. And it's like $700 a night right now. So if that is your cup of tea and you're good to go on that, fantastic. I am looking for something a little bit more economic. So I kept that in mind while I was looking for options.
Right. And we are going to talk about BravoCon on a budget in another show. Mm-hmm. And John always say there's going to be another show, but we have a long list of shows. So the BravoCon on a budget is, we could probably do that after tickets are out, somewhere in August-ish or whatever. But I'm thinking that if, there's thousands of hotel rooms in Vegas, so there's no need to rush those pre-purchase ones that, Bravo sent out. I did because I'm going to have a meetup. And maybe I might have a meetup at each one. So I just want to make sure I got into that early. But it was, I don't remember the cost, but they did ask for some money down on the credit card. That's Vegas for you. There's going to be expenses. There's going to be service fees. There's going to be this fee, that fee, things you don't expect because it's Vegas. But I did put down like $180. But I also am staying for 7 or 6 nights, I think. So I, day before and day after, like I mentioned last show.
Yeah. Okay, well, so we keep circling it. Maybe we should just dive in and get started. Before we do, we have to give the caveat that we are not related or affiliated with Bravo or BravoCon or NBC Universal in any way. We're simply obsessed with them and want you all to have the best experience possible.
Yeah, not affiliated, just super fans.
So let's talk about getting there first and how many days you should stay. Because I feel like those are, before we get into hotels, let's frame it. So the nice thing about Vegas is that the international airport, Harry Reid International Airport, is right next to the Strip. So it's
Yeah.
super easy to fly in and get to pretty much whatever hotel you're going to. I know because anything that takes you places I'm obsessed with. So trains, planes, automobiles. Well, not so much automobiles, but planes and trains are the best. So Harry Reid is a hub for Southwest, which makes it really easy to get to if you're flying Southwest. And Southwest is a more affordable economic option. They also, though, for Delta Airlines, they're the biggest non-hub destination for Delta.
Okay.
And they're really close for like American and a couple other places. So if Southwest, Delta, all of those are going to be really good options. I say that just because occasionally, and not often, but occasionally like sandstorms and things like that impact flying into and out of Harry Reid. I had that happen in Vegas last time I was there in November, coincidentally, a couple of years ago. There was this big sandstorm, and I mean, it was pretty bad, but flights were grounded for a while. But if you were on Southwest or Delta, because they have so many flights, you were like the impact was just more minimal. Southwest just had that recent thing last Christmas? So maybe go Delta. That's who I go. But it just made it easier when stuff started back up again to get out because they had so many flights. But it's really going to be who flies to your hometown probably matters more than anything else. But what dates should we be looking? I think you and I have similar opinions on this, but the convention itself runs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all day. It ends at usually like 6 o'clock at night has been pretty a standard. And then maybe the after event. So in 2022, it was Watch What Happens Live filming with Andy Cohen. And that would film up until like 10, but that was a separately ticketed event. So you knew in advance if you had that. So you could be there all day Sunday. So what would you say travel days, Lisa?
Okay. So for those watching that are in the Facebook group and you want to come to our meetup, like I said, we haven't scheduled it yet. It's probably going to be Thursday, the 2nd.
Yeah.
So if we can figure it out, which I'm plotting now. I'm plotting. So the 2nd would be the big meetup, more than likely, because we want to kick off the whole weekend, everybody meet and hook up and all that. So last time I flew in on Wednesday because I was going to have a heart attack if I didn't get there. So I flew in the day before. But anyway, so if you want to fly in Thursday, check in your hotel, and then we'll have a meetup or something Thursday night. Then you can relax in between and be ready to go for Friday morning, which is the big day. So that's Thursday morning is a good call. If you don't want to come to the meetup, you can come in Thursday night and get ready for Friday as well. Truth be told is, you don't have to hit all 3 days of BravoCon. If you decide to buy a 1 or 2 day ticket, you could fly in again Friday or Saturday. Whatever works for you. I know a gal I met at BravoCon last year that flew in for 1 day.
From where?
I don't remember, but she flew in Sunday morning. I met her at the hotel, and she literally flew out that night. It was like a 1 day pop and bop in there. She was like done.
Ready to go.
Yeah, but that's what she wanted to do.
I will say if you're going to do it for a single day, Sunday's the day, because Sunday, especially towards the afternoon, most people left early.
Yes.
And Sunday afternoon, especially if you could
oh no,
you could do everything, see everything. It was great. It was very easy.
It was not a convention like other ones where people start closing up at 1 and 2 o'clock. No.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I was even almost there till 6:30 on Sunday.
Yeah.
People were still there. And I remember it was starting to get slow, but people were still out there. So
yeah.
Yep.
So I obviously it's going to depend on how many days you want to be there. And it's going to depend on how many everything kind of revolves around tickets, because once ticket prices come out and you're like, oh, a 3-day ticket is not going to be in my budget this year, or a 3-day ticket is perfect, whatever it ends up being. So it really depends. If you're going to do 3 days though, and you're going to do 3 days right, I would personally fly in Thursday night, do the Lisa method, fly in Thursday night, fly out Monday morning, Give yourself
That'd
time on
be
both ends.
the Lisa method is fly on Wednesday
Wednesday.
and fly out Tuesday, which is
all right. So
the
that's the
hangover
Lisa
extension plan. Like I'm not gonna even think about it the next day. I'm gonna
John
relax
method
and
then.
go. Honestly, I'm gonna go gamble. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, and you may not be the only one who wants to hang out because let's be real, Vegas in November is like what, 70 degrees, 80 degrees?
Yeah.
Anywhere New York, I remember New York in 2019, like it was cold and it was in October.
I will tell you a secret of Vegas is that the pools are not warm. The only pool that I found that was open was at Caesars. And they have a luxury swimming pool that's heated and it's so awesome. So if you're staying at Caesars, that's a treat for you. And just to let you know that they have a huge bar and our bill was $500 when we left. It was not kidding. It was pretty hefty.
That's really good to know because if I'm honest, I'm all about a lazy river. So when we get into hotels, I was looking at the Mandalay Bay because they have a lazy river. And I was like, anytime I'm not doing something, I want to be in that lazy river.
It was quite an expensive afternoon. Don't buy rounds of lemon drops.
Yeah, but lemon drops are delicious. Absolutely buy lemon drops.
They are. So when I flew, so I'm like, again, I'm going to do the extended stay thing. I haven't had a vacation also, so I really just want to make it nice. Flying in Wednesday, leaving Tuesday. If I was a 3-dayer, I would come in Thursday. If you want to do the meetup, come in the afternoon, give yourself a little time, check in your hotel, find the group for the meetup and enjoy that. If we do a meetup off the strip, it will not be far. So we could do group Ubers and group taxis and such, because the chance of me, like I said, getting a $30,000 room is minimal. But see, but otherwise you could fly in Thursday night. Sometimes the flights are cheaper at night and you could do that and get to the event Friday still. Some people, I mean, at the hotel in New York, people were checking in all day long on Friday. So they were like, whatever, they got 2-day tickets maybe or whatever. They just all came in. So it was not a big deal. It's up to you and what you want to do. But this is just my experience of what I would do.
Yeah.
And
well, the nice thing about Vegas is if you book a hotel now and it's 3 days, I mean, after COVID, I feel like travel stuff is so much easier to change than it was pre-COVID. Like it just, change fees aren't a thing that airlines really do anymore. Hotels, for the most part, as long as you don't book the like pre-book locked-in rate, you know, you spend $5 more a night. It's like, change up to 48 hours before your arrival. Do what you want. So, you know, you can kind of book some things to give you some confidence and then make a decision later of like, oh, either I don't want to attend these days or I still don't want to attend. I only want to maybe attend Saturday, Sunday, but I'm still going to go on Thursday because I'm going to spend a pool day on Friday. Like,
exactly.
Not the whole point of BravoCon. Treat yourself.
And a lot of people that came to BravoCon didn't do a lot of, I heard a lot of people tell stories that they wanted to see shows, do other things. They didn't do Bravo related things. So if you are looking at Vegas as an adventure for the weekend and you want to do other things, there's plenty of, you know, room for that. Some people they went to a Broadway show and went to dinner way far away and did all these cool things. So
I have so many recommendations on Broadway shows you could. Oh, sorry, we're in Vegas, not New York. That's my bad.
That's for another podcast.
That's a different one. But there's so many good Broadway shows right now. Anyway.
Well, so anyway, so traveling in with, of course, then there's the people who want to drive, and I think those are the high speed rollers from California. Like you were saying, they know the routes, they know what they're doing. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people carpooling and bringing tons of luggage and all their exciting stuff, which is not, you know, for me, but it's something other people would do.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that'll be happening for me from New York.
No, but a little tip about the airport is that from my experience, if you get Ubers, the Uber pickup is farther away than the cabs. So to me, I'm about time. I'm not about money. Not that I have a ton of money, but to me, I'd rather not have to, because I'm also disabled, not have to go and walk that extra, Vegas is not forgiving on the walking. So I'd rather get a cab right outside the terminal when I get my luggage and go. Pay the extra $10 if that's even a thing. Sometimes they all compete. So it's the same.
Yeah.
But the Uber and the Lyft and all that is definitely a farther away area. They don't have it up front.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the cab's got claim on that.
Well, and my experience in Vegas has been that Ubers, or I use Lyft, but getting a Lyft is usually takes longer than getting a cab because for the most part, especially if you're at a hotel on the strip, because we have a lot of off-strip options and that changes the
Yeah.
calculus. But if you're at a hotel on the strip, there's usually cabs lined up ready to go
Mhm.
for Lyft, for Uber, for not they don't mind it. The whole point of the app is that the drivers have no downtime. They're always on a trip. So you usually have to wait for them to come and get you, and traffic on the strip, especially on Friday night, Saturday night, which, most people will be, hopefully, if you're not watching or doing whatever after hours entertainment, traffic's real bad. So taxis, I think, just usually are the way to go.
Well, I think taxis, in my experience there, they take the back roads. They don't take
Yeah,
the strip, and so they can get around quicker and get more
it
work
makes
in.
sense.
That's
Yeah.
what I used to see anyway. I know all the back little roads back there, but yeah, I mean that's just a thing is, you don't have to have an Uber scheduled before you get there. You could, and the one for me in New York did not pick me up on time. I had to wait an extra hour, and I had it scheduled.
An extra hour?
Yeah, it was such a bummer. I was
That's
so I was so like, oh God, really? I had to sit outside. It was a nice day, luckily. But
yeah.
yeah, I had to wait. They messed up. So that's why I'm
That's not
like, I
good.
should have just got a cab.
Yeah.
I scheduled it and I'd already paid for it. So that's a thought
Yeah.
is there's always plenty of cabs in Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
Plenty
and
of,
that's the one downside to planning that much ahead when you're traveling is if
yeah.
you do schedule things like Ubers or Lyfts in it, or, a different car service in advance, if they're not there, you've already paid for it. So
Yes,
you got to eat it and wait. Like you don't have a choice.
I know. There's tons of
So
cabs there. And the cabs
yeah.
are thriving because they compete with the Uber and Lyft guys. So they're just as fast
Mhm.
still. I
Yeah.
cabbed a lot there.
Makes
Um,
sense. Well, the other option I want to talk about before we get off of transportation too much is, and we'll dive into this when we talk about, excuse me, about hotels, but is the Las Vegas monorail. Um, Again, I'm obsessed with trains, so take everything I'm saying from that lens, because the monorail at Disneyland is my favorite ride. But the monorail, it's on the backside. There is a stop at Caesar's Forum or very, very close by to Caesar's Forum. And it takes you to a bunch of hotels, goes all the way down to MGM Grand. So it won't take you to and from the airport, at least not yet. I hope they're expanding it to the
well, the
airport.
airport has a monorail there. I mean, they have their own. It's a
Oh,
huge,
like in the airport
yeah,
monorail?
I'm taking the monorail. It's a small one, but you still take a
Yeah, yeah.
train to get
Still
to
take a train to get to the
it's
different terminals.
crazy.
I I'm just gonna make a note for myself. Is Vegas extending the monorail to the airport?
Okay.
Because I want to know that.
They
But
might.
once you're, I mean, it's not far. They should anyway. This is city planning with Lisa and John.
Such a New Yorker. You're like, I love my trains. I'm
I
like,
know.
tell this
I'm
cab.
like, I fly from JFK sometimes. Nuts. I love LGA now. LaGuardia is the prettiest airport that's ever
Oh,
airported in my life, and it's my favorite. But I still like to go to JFK because I can get there on the
right.
train. It's so easy. Anyway, I digress.
Okay.
Moving around the city, if you are on that monorail line, which has a bunch, like the Flamingo is there, Planet Hollywood, a couple Marriott properties, like I said, MGM, and then there's some that are north too, off the strip, a little north of the strip. It's $40 for a 4-day pass,
Oh, wow.
so super affordable. And it's a monorail, so like timing wise, is going to be less convenient than a
Right.
cab or a Lyft that you can be like, yeah, come get me right now. But it's a cool monorail ride. Also, it means not having to pay quite as much money. So I wanted to throw that out there. And some of the hotels I looked up specifically because they're on that monorail line. So
Nice.
we can
Well,
talk about that too.
let me just add something about Vegas. If you've never been there and you don't know what to expect, when you're Googling and you see the blocks, don't think they're small. These blocks are massive, and they are way more. When you're like, let's just walk it, you better not have your high heels on. it is a lot of power walking, and it's a lot of walking. And even unless you're just trawling around day drinking and enjoying that and popping into these things, these hotels have huge blocks per hotel, and it's a very long walk. So if you're up for the walks, go ahead. If you want to do the monorail and plan your trips around that, that might be better, because then you can just walk in that little area, you get dropped off. For me,
Yeah.
oh no, there's gonna be no mess of walking like that. I don't know if I even want to take my scooter on the strip. Like, protect it.
Yeah, I remember one of my last trips to one of my not last trips, one of my first trips to Vegas. We were poor college students, right? So at the time you could get like a $20 room at the Luxor. And we were like, great, it's fine. Like, we'll walk there. It'll be great. We're going to have so much fun. The Luxor is really far from everything. And like, it's got the little in-between hotel like train that I think takes you to like, I don't know, I think it was New York, New York. And we're like, that's super close. That's in the middle of everything. No. It's not. It's super not. We were so tired. So tired and so drunk that first night trying to get back to the hotel.
The walk of shame is real.
Well, and it got to that point where you're like, we must have made a wrong turn. We went the wrong way. Somehow it's been too long. We've been walking for too long. I mean, the strip is a strip. Like, it's straight. There are no turns to make. All we had to do was go straight. Ugh. Anyway,
downtown has smaller blocks because that's old, but it's definitely a lot of big blocks.
Yeah,
lots of big ones, and huge. The hotels are huge once you start coming up to. You're like, oh my god, this is massive. You don't even nothing does it justice till you see it in person.
And we're all about to see it.
Yeah, I know.
What?
So
it's gonna be good.
I'm thinking, for me personally, I'm gonna probably just take a cab or whatever when I fly in. I'm staying at Link, so I'll just there. Now, I know some people who are budget friendly also want to try to do group things. So in the group, in the Facebook group, we will have a post about travel. And for those that want to get group Ubers or, share transportation costs, because it was pretty expensive in New York, and it's not nearly anything like that in Vegas. It's like $30, $30 or $40 for a cab ride, because it's so fast there, and it's close. But if you still want to, they're going to have a group post eventually, like closer to the event, like post here if you want a group share, things like that. So for me, I'm just going to plan on just taking a regular cab. I'm bringing my own personal, rollator I have, so I need a little more extra space. And then at the hotel, I'm probably, because I need help, I'm going to have a scooter at Caesar's Forum. I'm not going to have it at the hotel. So for me, I'll still be walking my normal amount in the hotel. But if I go anywhere, I'm probably just going to take little cabs. If I need to go anywhere off what I'm doing,
Right.
I think last year, the only thing I did was I went to the Manhattan Center a couple times. I went to 2 Watch What Happens Lives, and that was all I did. I was so exhausted. I didn't do anything at night, or I was just eating at the hotel, or just, wiped out.
Yeah. Speaking of eating, that may need to be like our podcast mantra is every time you see Lisa, say hi, get a photo, and then remind her to actually eat something during the day.
Like, did she eat today? I'm like, I don't know.
I can't remember. Who can remember?
Where's that
you
protein?
Should.
I know.
It's 2:00. How do you not remember?
I know there's going to be delicious food there. I cannot wait.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Anyway. All right. And we'll talk about scooters in a later episode, because there are places, if you need it, like for folks who are going, who may need one, like at the hotel too, there are places that can just rent. Yep. You rent the scooter from, you have it the whole time, and you're good to go. You don't need to get it from the forum.
I found out some different things, though, so when we talk about that, I'll explain when we hit that topic. Yep.
Great.
I did my pre-investigation the day it was announced. I was already like making my little plans.
Oh my gosh, who would do that kind of research the day it was announced? Both of us.
Not us.
That's who we are as people.
I know. I was already like Googling. I know. Well, everything, remember, in my head was New York. So I was like, oh, twist. I got to go and shift over quick. All right, so I think we've kind of wrapped up transportation. If anybody has any questions, you can, of course, email us and we'll do our best to help. But we know a lot of folks are coming alone, so you don't need to worry. You got me and John here and the Facebook group. John,
and I'll be riding the monorail in circles all day. No, I'm just kidding.
He's going to have the king crown for the monorail.
I'll be like, hello, welcome to my monorail. Vegas is like, oh, you can't, it's not what it comes every 4 to 8 minutes. It's a transportation miracle and we should appreciate it for what it is.
Trains are a miracle.
They are. But that wraps up transportation. And next week we're going to talk hotels.
Hotels, yep. And that's going to be another nice podcast. And so if you want to email us, go ahead and shoot off an email to queensofbravocon@gmail.com. We are getting emails from people, by the way.
Such nice ones, too.
I know. I love it. Everybody's so excited.
Great. But we should say, if you have any questions, please email them, queensofbravocon@gmail.com. Once we start to get some questions, we can start to open the podcast with those questions, or the show with those questions, and answer them. Because it's all about you guys. We want to hear what y'all have to
You're a queen
ask
too.
and know.
Yes. Is. So you can email us. There's going to be links in the bio of the podcast and the YouTube there to follow us on all the socials. John and I are still getting our feet wet with this, so we haven't got up to speed with all of the socials yet, but we will. And again, we're going to do a little snippet the day before to kind of tell you what the next show is about. And plus, probably at the event, we're going to go live on some of them we talked about. So that'll be kind of fun. And if you want to join the Facebook group, just go to Facebook and search for BravoCon, or you can go to facebook.com/group/BravoCon. We're the only ones there. And let's see, and if you want to join my website, which is bravocommunity.org, that's where we got all the pictures from 2022 to 19. At the top, you can register to be a member, which will get you into any of our meetups that we're going to do and things like that, a little private group. And everything's always posted on the Facebook group, but to get the emails from me directly.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a lot. Anyway, I think that's it for this show, folks. We'll see you in the next show. We're going to talk about hotels.
Bye.
Bye.